Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Dominic K in here, of course. The Dominic K Show on firetelevision.com, the diamondkshow.com. The backlash, continues for Will Smith and the whole debacle that was the Oscars. We're going to get into that and so much more today on the Dominic K Show. Okay, so we've been talking about it, and it's been a little bit over a week. I guess it's been a week and a day since this controversy has sparked up. And I said when it first happened, I said as recently as Friday on Friday's show that I did not think that Will Smith was going to have any real backlash. I said that. I said that there were not going to be any real consequences to this whole thing. Yeah, I said it. And I can say now, Monday, that I was wrong. I was wrong. It appears that the slap heard round the world, Will Smith has found himself in some hot water, right? Academy Awards fans, just a bunch of folks. The fallout is now going to impact the movie studios that already had Will Smith movies and projects in the works. It's going to cost potentially several companies some very large box office numbers in the meantime, affecting the pocketbook. That's affecting the money. Now, why is this happening? Okay, if we need to recap, there was a joke made about his wife, right? Will Smith smacks Chris Rock live on TV, the 94th Academy Awards, and the event aired on the Walt Disney Company owned ABC. All right, so everybody knows that. Will Smith resigns from the Academy, faces potential suspension or expulsion from future award shows as an ongoing investigation looks into how it handled the aftermath or how to handle the aftermath. And what does that mean? What is the aftermath of this whole thing? Well, there are, as I said, a few companies that do business with Will Smith. A planned Netflix movie called Fast and Loose has now been put on hold, according to a report from the Hollywood Reporter. Smith was set to star in the movie, which will tell the story of a crime boss. The movie could face more challenges as it lost its director a week before the Academy Awards. So that, coupled with what happened with Will Smith, Fast and Loose has now been put on the back burner. They are not even thinking about that right now. Now, it could mean that the movie never gets released or it's held up for some time. I guess we're going to have to see what happens. The movie could also decide to move forward with a new director, and these things happen. A movie will lose a director. It may sit on the shelf for a while. New director comes and reboots things. So that could happen. Could move forward with a new director, and could even move forward with a new star. Give it a fresh take. All that could happen. So we got to watch that, see what happens there. Also, Apple has a movie called Emancipation in post-production that stars Will Smith. The movie was planned for a 2022 debut, but that could be under pressure after Will Smith's behavior. Apple has declined to comment on the status of that film. So, yeah, I said it on Friday. I said it on Thursday last week. He wasn't going to face any real repercussions. It appears that real repercussions are here. So it looks like I was wrong. Hey, I have no problem saying if I was wrong about something. Just tune in. It's the Diamond K Show, of course, onfiretelevision.com, thediamondkshow.com. The Legendary Lifestyle Cafe is a community-based wellness space driven by local businesses and partnerships. They provide health-conscious food and products in Baltimore, located at 1301 North Broadway. The Legendary Lifestyle Cafe is open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Plant-based food, cold-pressed juice, wellness products like sage, crystals, organic herbs, and so much more. Get apparel. There are educational resources. There's plenty of space to meet. They have Wi-Fi available. It's the Legendary Lifestyle Cafe. Delivery, you can get that. It is in Baltimore, as I said, 1301 North Broadway. Check in with them on all social media, Legendary Lifestyle Cafe, or visit legendarylifestylecafe.com. So, Bad Boys 4, which would star Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, has also been put on hold by Sony, according to a source who spoke with the Hollywood Reporter, getting all this information. The movie has been in development, and Smith reportedly received a portion of a script for the movie, the popular franchise. He got this sample script before the Academy Awards. A new timetable has not been revealed for this film, and it was greenlit after the success of the 2020 Bad Boys for Life movie. So who knows what happens with that? We waited a long time for the Bad Boys for Life movie. So it is possible that they could wait this out. Now, what happened with Will Smith? I just don't see it as something that should be career ending per se. So a lot of these things that we are reporting on, I think, are temporary. I think that the companies that want to do business with Will Smith or wanted to do business with Will Smith prior to this debacle, just kind of want things to cool down. I'm thinking that that's what this is. In early March, it was announced that Warner Brothers, a studio owned by AT&T, was developing a new I Am Legend movie that would star Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan. The movie will also be written by the original writer, Goldsman, who wrote the screenplay for the 2007 original I Am Legend. So I Am Legend, that does not appear to be on hold. So I guess that is good news. Now, why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because of the fact that Will Smith is one of the highest grossing actors, and movie studios have enjoyed the revenue attached with projects that, he's in. So they understand that doing business with him benefits them, right? Benefits them. So what's going to happen here? Are they just going to cut Will Smith off? I don't know about that. I don't know. Just kind of like, how something happens, you kind of say, look, you just need to lay low, get low, just kind of chill out for a while, let this whole thing, what they call, blow over. Let this whole thing blow over. Now, I read the, announcement that he made. What's that? Let's go to page 3. Now, this is the last paragraph of his resignation from the Academy of Motion Pictures. I'm going to say this again. I'm going to read this again. I think this is very telling. So, I am resigning from membership in the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts, and Sciences, and will accept any further consequences the board deems appropriate. Change takes time, but I am committed to doing the work to ensure that I never again allow violence to overtake reason. That was Will Smith just last week talking about his resignation. And I bring that back up to point out the fact that I think that the route he's going to take is, therapy and, talking to my doctor and I now understand, like that kind of thing. And once he takes those steps and puts out well crafted public relations um, communications like this one, these companies are going to give him another chance. America loves redemption stories. America loves second chances. And do you really think that a cash cow like Will Smith, a box office bonanza person like Will Smith, is not going to get another opportunity to make more money for himself and his partners? No, he is. Okay. It's only Chris Rock, right? And yes, the shock of all this is going to wear off. The shock of all this is going to wear off. People are outraged now, but when another controversy comes, this is not going to seem like that big of a deal. And he's going to seem like he's getting the help that he needs and all of that, right? So, as I said, Will Smith, one of the highest grossing actors. Let's talk, let's run down some numbers, right? I'm just so you know, I'm not just talking that talk, right? Just because Philly and Baltimore are close together, and you think I'm just taking up for him? No, it's more than that. Let's talk about this money. Bad Boys had 3 movies in the franchise released to date. 3. With Bad Boys for Life, the highest grossing in the franchise in 2022, right? 206.3 million domestically and 426.5 million worldwide. Big movie. Big movie. I Am Legend grossed 256.4 million domestically and 585.4 million worldwide. And as I said, Warner Brothers was planning for a huge second movie in that franchise. Now, it's still going to come, my opinion. It's just not coming right now, but it is coming. All right. It is coming. Michael B. Jordan and Will Smith combined have been in movies that have grossed more than 12.3 billion worldwide. Do you think that they are going to turn down this kind of money just because Will Smith smacked Chris Rock on a live stage? No, they're not going to. No, it's too much money involved. Too much money involved. Now, for streaming platforms like Netflix or Apple TV Plus, having a movie with Will Smith in it can be a big win. It can lead to more subscribers, strong marketing, cross promotion for other releases. It can help the bottom line, and it can help keep subscribers around. Now, they may say, and what's really determining this, will people support a movie that Will Smith is in after this debacle? Has his marketability been forever tarnished? I don't know. I'm just one of those people that think that time is going to tell. Like, he did not sexually assault someone, right? I think that when you look at someone like Bill Cosby, accused of the things that he was accused of, or R. Kelly, accused of some of the things that he's been accused of, those are image tarnishing actions, criminal actions that are a lot more severe than what Will Smith has been accused of. So I don't know. I think that America will forgive this one. I mean, they'll forgive this one, right? But like I said, time's going to tell. I think that what he does in the days and weeks and months to come is definitely going to play a part into that. Now, if he gets on Jada Pinkett's Red Table Talk and starts talking greasy, that's going to hurt things. I think that for someone who's an actor, the magnitude of Will Smith, for them to communicate as poorly as he did I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't need to do any shows, interviews or any of those type of things. Maybe he just needs to lay low. Maybe he just needs to stay out of the way because the Will Smith fallout has begun. The Will Smith debacle is not over. It's not over. Luckily for Will Smith, though, Chris Rock has a different different take on it. He is not trying to throw him under the bus, but some people would have thrown Will Smith under the bus. Chris Rock did not do that. Chris Rock did not do that. Good guy. Good guy. Better than I don't know. He might be better than me because I would have I would have taken it. I would have taken it a little differently than Chris Rock did. Um, what I find interesting is that definitely white people don't get um, don't get why Will Smith did what he did, right? The mindset, like, what is the mindset behind it? Like, I wouldn't say a lot of white people just don't understand what happened, right? I've talked about this a lot. I have seen in the hood growing up as an adult, out in the club, in the store, wherever I've been, I've seen situations escalate quickly, like this did, quick, right? Uh, and I think that because other races may not understand some of the things that are at play here, some of the feelings that this controversy, uh, you know, that surround this controversy, right? Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. Now, on the surface, you may say, "Oh my God, I'm shocked and appalled that he did that," right? And yeah, he shouldn't have done it, right? But so many in so many streets in America, so many guys are having this type of interaction, right? And on the one hand, you have a generation of women who have felt like they weren't protected, right? But that doesn't mean you need to take it to 8, and I don't even know if this was 8, maybe this was a 7, because on a scale of 1 to 10, Will Smith could have done worse actions. Like, he could have punched him. He could have knocked him to the ground. He could have stomped him, right? He could have hit him with an object. He could have it could have gone even further, meaning that he didn't take his life. He wasn't even bleeding, right? So, a lot of Americans are shocked by the violence. But I'm not somebody who likes for hypocrisy to just fly by. A lot of the people, white mainstream America, that are so shocked and appalled by the actions of Will Smith, like some of the greatest atrocities in the world's history were done by, Anglo-Saxon Europeans, white people, right? So when they sit, like, okay, it's like, all right, I get it. He smacked somebody, you're supposed to keep your hands to yourself. But let's not act like this is the outrage of all outrageous behavior that we've ever seen in the history of our life. Like, I mean, there's a war going on right now. A bunch of white people have invaded the country of some other white people, right? We're seeing bodies turn up and all this kind of stuff. So let's not act like Will Smith smacking Chris Rock is the worst thing that we've ever seen. And hopefully this is the last time I really need to talk about it. But if new developments happen, I will bring it up. But the Smith Chris Rock incident is an example of how sometimes we relate to each other. Like, it can get like serious, and then it can simmer down. Now, white people don't understand this, right? I've said this before. We could be playing the dozens, And for folks that remember the dozens, you cracking jokes on somebody in their face. You know what I mean? And you just going back and forth and you're insulting each other. You can insult family members. You can insult everything. You just all kind of stuff, right? And sometimes that person can say something that might hit you a little bit too close. And oh no, that's off limits, or you know what I mean, something like that. And somebody might get popped in their face, right? That happens. That happens in the hood all the time. Now, yes, we weren't in the hood when this took place, but I also don't want this over glamorizing of these mainstream award shows, right? It's cool and all of that, but let's not act like we weren't at Heaven's Gate. They weren't, God wasn't present when this happened. It's just the Oscars, okay? Just the Oscars. So we talk about a proportionate reaction to what Chris Rock said from Will Smith, but I also want a proportionate amount of outrage at the same time. Will Smith doesn't need to be canceled. Will Smith does not need to be villain. He doesn't need to be the villain. All right. And I think that I would love if this was something that could have just been contained within the Black community, but obviously it happened in front of the country. So it is going to be a lot deeper than that. There are a lot of nuances involved in what happened. So you have the perspective of women who feel like, yes, my man stood up for me, right? You got that. Then you got the perspective of the man Will Smith, who is standing up for his wife, right? But you have to, in Will Smith's situation, you have to check your behavior and make sure that it's proportionate, right? Everything is not a smackable thing. I wish you could have handled that differently. I wish you could have handled that at the after party when all the cameras was in order, right? Because sometimes men gotta have some conversations, right? Sometimes men gotta move the furniture around a little bit. I would have rather that we take it outside than than this. And then you have the perspective of Chris Rock saying the joke, right? Now, and I've said this before. The Oscars and unfortunately Will Packer, the production crew, all of that. This could have been avoided. I think that they wanted to ruffle the Smith family's feathers. They just didn't know that this was going to be Will Smith's reaction. I mean, who could have known? Nobody knew it was going to be Will Smith's reaction. Will Smith didn't know this was going to be his reaction. Right? Now, he has fully accepted any and all consequences that are coming his way, and there probably are going to be more. Like he said, the list of those that he's hurt is long and includes Chris Rock, his family, and many of his dear friends and loved ones, all those in attendance, global audiences at home. That's pretty much everybody. Pretty much everybody. Now, of course, the powers that be encouraged Chris Rock to file charges against Will Smith. He has refused to do that. To his credit, he has refused to do that. And for that, I definitely think that Chris Rock is a stand-up guy. I definitely do. I don't think that involving the police is where this needs to go. I don't. What does that what does that prove? What does that help? Right? We have a few things that are unsettled a week after this infamous slap. A few things, right? Of course, we remember Will Smith from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and going on to become a box office giant, right? We know that. And it is unclear whether Chris Rock was aware that Jada Pinkett has alopecia. We don't we don't know that, and I don't think we're going to know that for quite some time. We do know that Chris Rock has not fully had his say on the matter. He is on his ego death tour, and he kind of briefly addressed the smack. And I'm sure over time he's going to go into it a little bit more. We shared on social media at the Diamond K Show. We shared a quick clip of Tony Rock talking about it, who has a much more aggressive stance on what happened. Naturally, your brother, your more mild mannered brother, being assaulted by Will Smith, it definitely angered, understandably, Tony Rock, brother, and also a comedian, angered him. And I understand that. So the Oscars, the Academy of Motion Picture Art and Science, announced that it had initiated disciplinary proceedings against Will Smith. But much like the the investigations that happened in the U.S. Congress, is going to be long, drawn out, and people going to be like, all the evidence is on TV. What do we? Why does it take so long to investigate? This probably going to be dragged on for a long, long time because they don't want to upset Chris Rock. They don't want to upset Will Smith. They don't want to upset the people. They don't want to upset the company. So this is going to just be dragged out, dragged out. So whether it is a permanent expulsion or anything else deemed within the purview of the Academy's bylaws or standards of conduct, whatever that's going to be, is going to be what it is. It is going to be what it is. SNL, Saturday Night Live, uh, did something on it. I mean, it wasn't as funny as I guess it could have been funny. Maybe, I don't know. It's tough to say. The Saturday Night Live, it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss with that. But they tried to take it on and tried to do something funny with it. I personally did not think it was that funny what Saturday Night Live did. But I know that we're going to get eventually Chris Rock to speak on this. But his ego death world tour tickets are, the European leg of his tour, Australia and New Zealand. He's going there in August. So that is big. Michael Blackston posted on Chris Rock's social media that you were very professional, proud of you, homie, comedian of the year. A lot of folks giving him praise, giving him praise. He has some show dates with Kevin Hart, Rock Hart. Only headliners allowed. That tour is going on. So July 21st, they're going to be in New York. July 22nd, New Jersey. July 23rd, back in New York. July 24th in Jersey. July 25th, they are in Brooklyn. So pre-sale those tickets. They're on sale on Ticketmaster. That's going to be a massive show. So it is, people got business to do. And it appears that Chris Rock is only going to have a major economic bump from the bump that he took on the stage. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, of course, on firetelevision.com, thediamondkshow.com. Now that we have had that discussion, I want to talk about, and this is something we mentioned that we are going to talk about this on Friday, and I said that this was coming up in the discussions, but we're going to talk about this bill that is dubbed the "Don't Say Gay" bill. That's what they call it. And we're going to unpack that a little bit. This is coming out of Florida, of course. Ron DeSantis and his whole shadow campaign. He's obviously running for re-election as governor, and I feel that he's trying to run for president as well. So let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk about this bill. We're going to talk about what is appropriate to say to kids, elementary school kids, as it relates to gender identity and gay and lesbian relationships, et cetera, et cetera. So let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with the show after this. You're listening to the Diamond K Show on firetelevision.com, thediamondkshow.com. Welcome back. We're in Diamond K in here, the Diamond K Show, thediamondkshow.com, on firetelevision.com. Now, here on the program, we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with original reporting from across the country. Show is fun, show is upbeat, but also have to expose what is really going on in America. Now, I give you politics and trending topics from an independent perspective. If a Republican's wrong, I'm going to call them out. If a Democrat is wrong, I'm going to call them out too, right? And that's what we got to do. I answer my comments, I answer my emails, social media, and all of that stuff. So we're talking about this bill in Florida, the bill that they're calling the Don't Say Gay bill. And they always got to have this little catchy name with it. And there has been this push within Republican circles to really focus on parents and schools and what they're talking about and what they're saying and that kind of stuff. So this is something designed to ignite their base. And you frequently will hear me talk about the fact that I have to commend Republicans for their tenacity to keep their base engaged, to keep their GOP voters just, excited and active. Democrats have not been able to do that on a consistent basis. Democrats are not excited about anything because there's not a lot to be excited about, right? But the Republicans are trying to become the party of parental rights. They're trying to become the party that talks about what goes on in your kids' schools. Republicans in Florida and other states are attempting to muzzle discussion of gay and civil rights in school. So they've been on this two-prong approach, this critical race theory, and then this don't say gay stuff, right? So it's a two-prong approach that Republicans are trying to do, and there is no surprise that they're trying to do this during election season. This is election season. So one bill that Florida's governor, Ron DeSantis, has signed is titled Parental Rights in Education. Parental Rights in Education. Now, it has been dubbed by critics the Don't Say Gay bill because it seeks to ban discussion of gender and sexuality issues with young students. Now, here's the thing with most stuff. I don't agree all the way with anything. Like there are stuff I like about a lot of different things. Now, I'm one who doesn't think that some discussions should be had with some of our younger children. Now, I don't think that, violence in a certain degree and death, that's why you have ratings. Like kids are aware of things. They know this is killing, this is this is that, but you don't want to go into things in detail is the theory. And you may have that in your mind and say that kind of makes sense. But let's look a little bit deeper and see whether or not Republicans are actually looking out for our kids or they're trying to play political games, right? So, another bill that passed Florida's Senate recently would prohibit instruction that says certain races or sexes are privileged or oppressed. Now, what is going on here? This is the critical race theory smokescreen that has been brought up recently. Certain races or sexes are privileged or oppressed. So when you look at America today, are there certain races and sexes that are privileged? Do some races and sexes get treated differently? Well, the answer absolutely is yes. But when we talk about this and who we talk about this to, that is what is at question here. So why are they trying to control what is said to younger students? Because the earlier you introduce something to someone, the harder it is to remove it from them, the more ingrained it can become, not definitely, but can become. And I assume that that is part of what is at play here. So this legislation does not specifically mention the words critical race theory. No, they're not going to come out and say that. They don't write bills like that so you can actually spell things out. We didn't make this really, really easy. No, we got to hire lawyers and all this kind of stuff. It may take a long time. So we got to make the language very, very vague. We can't spell out anything. That's the thought process, because that's what happens. So what is critical race theory? It is an academic theory that's already banned in Florida. And it's taught mostly not to young kids, not to young students. It's taught in colleges and graduate programs. And it acknowledges that racism is systemic and institutional in American society. This is a fact. This is a fact. But why don't they want you to learn this? Why are Republicans trying to hide this from our young boys and gals? The same reason why they don't teach students stuff that they really need to know. They don't want you to know. They're trying to hide this information from you. Why in school don't they teach students the actual life skills that they're going to need? Why don't they teach them about debt? Why don't they teach them about taxes? Why don't they teach them about any of these things in school? No, they don't want you to learn that. They want to keep you oppressed. The privileged ones, they want to rise up, and they're trying to withhold this information from you. Because like I said, the earlier you get this information, and then you reach a point where you start to research stuff for yourself, it's going to become embedded in you. They don't want this information. Republicans don't want this information in this next generation. They don't want that there. So they come up with these scare tactics to scare the parents and the grandparents, to scare them. And this is all designed to ignite the base. This is called giving red meat to the base, the Republican base. So this academic theory that is taught mostly in colleges and graduate programs, which acknowledges racism and the systemic and institutional nature of it, they don't want this talked about in school. So when you hear someone Republican supportive of this critical race theory, they will say, "Oh, we don't want to teach that anybody is better or above or below anybody," and that's how they describe it. They don't describe it how it is, right? They don't describe it how it is. Teaching critical race theory would be prohibited, but it's not even taught, right? So why go through all of this? Because this is something not about anything other than posturing. This is just about igniting the base, getting them fired up and ready to go, as President Obama used to say. Now, this new bill is supposed to protect individual freedom. It would prohibit Florida's public schools and private businesses from making people feel guilt, anguish, or other forms of psychological distress based on their race, sex, or nation of origin. Right? So I guess the Nazis, we're not going to teach you that the Nazis are bad, because that will make some people of German descent feel not good. Right? We're not going to talk about slavery in a critical way, or the atrocity that it was, because, that's going to make some white people feel bad. No, we have to talk about history the way that it happened, because it's history. History as a subject, one thing that it fascinated me at a very young age, and I seeked out a lot of knowledge outside of the instruction in school, because history was so fascinating to me. It was real. And one thing about it is that it evokes emotion. Just history, just telling the history the way it is. But you don't have to dilute or try to hide the history. History is just interesting in itself. But Republicans there's a deeper goal at play here. Right? There's a deeper goal at play here. So opponents of the Don't Say Gay bill, right? Because this is, as I said, this is a two-prong approach. I'm going back and forth because this is a two-prong approach. They are trying to rile up their base. It's not even about anything other than Republicans being able to say, yeah, the Democrats, they're pedophiles and they are, this and apologists and all this. They want to point and call them all these things and say, this is the reason why you need to give Republicans the majority now, because of this. And we're the ones who are protecting individual rights. And we're the ones, but you're also the ones who organized protests, organized the January 6th debacle, a whole lot of things. So the governor is fighting with Disney. Disney is, as you well know, a major Florida employer. So the CEO of Disney faced serious backlash after he initially refrained from criticizing the bill. So the White House has called it cruel, this Don't Say Gay bill. You have students in Florida organizing protests at schools and at the state capitol. Obviously, some of them feel a way about this. And we have just become poised for social debate after social debate after social debate. So earlier this month, DeSantis became agitated at the Florida Strawberry Festival when a reporter asked him about the phrase "don't say gay" that the opponents have applied to this bill. Does it say that in the bill? Does it say that in the bill? He said, I'm asking you to tell me what's in the bill, because you are pushing false narratives, he said. It doesn't matter what critics say. DeSantis has been very argumentative with the media. He looks at the media as the enemy. And I don't know if the media is his enemy, because the media is a big part of how he's gotten his messages out to the public. Big part of that. Let's do this. You're listening to The Diamond K Show, of course, onfiretelevision.com, thediamondkshow.com. We're going to take a quick break and come back with the rest of the show. You listen to The Diamond K Show. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Welcome back. You man Diamond K in here, the Diamond K Show. I go by the name of Diamond K. And On Fire Television is an advertiser-supported audio and video network. You get breaking news, podcasts, TV shows covering topics that are important to the culture. OnFireTelevision.com is where you go to discover, engage, and connect with the latest news and our original program. So we're talking about this quote-unquote don't say gay bill. And if the language seems vague in the bill, that is done on purpose. Now, vague legislation can have massive consequences because it is not, spelled out. They kind of just throw stuff in there and then say, well, it didn't say this or it didn't say that. Like DeSantis is saying that the bill doesn't say don't say gay, right? But that's not a way to dispute what it actually means. And if it means don't say gay, but it doesn't say don't say gay, you don't really have an out. You're just playing the word game, right? Now, the threat of lawsuits, there are going to be a bunch of those. Activists on the left and the right have pretty much filled in the blanks, with some making the case that the bill discriminates against LGBT people. Supporters of the bill say that that's not true, and but they don't think that the bill is meaningless. The bill is not meaningless. Now, it is well thought out, and Republicans are always formidable opponents. Formidable. Now, there's been news conferences. There's been a lot of back and forth. The fears that many folks have, on one hand, is society has been feeling the effects of mainstream folks, movies, TV shows, pushing the quote unquote gay agenda, right, to kids. So that is something, and I think that there is legitimacy to that. There are things that kids are not old enough to see to be able to decipher for themselves. And, you have a lot of LGBT people that say, oh, members of their family are gay, or, they have two moms or two dads or something like that. So they're aware of these things. But they may also have somebody in their family that gets high. But that doesn't mean that they are ready for certain discussions on drug use just because they've seen it. They may have witnessed somebody in a gang walking to school, but that doesn't mean that we're ready to have the conversations or show them photos of people killed by gangs, right? There are limits to what people should be able to see at a certain age. And yes, parents should have a say-so at a curriculum. If you don't like the curriculum, don't send your kid to a certain school, right? But you as a mechanic, how are you going to tell a teacher, school-trained, educated professional, what they should be doing? Right? Mr. Mechanic, can I go, into your shop and say, look, I only want you to use certain parts on my car. I don't even know what this, I'm not qualified to speak about this. And just because you are a parent doesn't mean that you are qualified to be involved in the curriculum you may say, generally speaking, what my kid to learn, if you want your kid to learn religion, you send them to a school that focuses on or includes religion conversations in the curriculum. You can do that, right? But you can't get into the specifics and then put your political views. I don't believe that George Washington chopped down the cherry tree, or whatever lie that we were taught growing up, right? So you should say this or say that. No, it just, sometimes you kind of have to trust the process. And if you want your kids to learn some lies, that you teach them the lies, but you can't expect that the teachers are going to teach the lies that you want told. And this has happened for a long time. We've been taught a lot of lies. But the internet age has exposed a lot of the lies that we were taught. And thankfully, I mean, Columbus discovered America, a lie, right? And that lie was repeated to students for years and years and years and years and years. Now, there is a fantasy going on that children are being indoctrinated through classrooms. I don't know. Now, when you see, and we have seen a lot of people that are coming out and are free to express how they identify and this type of thing. So, is elementary school too soon to have formal discussions about this topic? I say yes, right? I say yes. But to pass a bill or to try to have some type of a law passed that criminalizes this discussion, I don't know. I think that's a bit far. I think that's a bit far. I know that this discussion is not going to end, not just yet. And if whatever the result is in Florida, you're going to have other states that are going to try to do this same thing. So we're going to continue to see this. We're going to continue to see this attempt. We're going to continue to see it. And hopefully we can find some middle ground to whatever it's supposed to be, right? We can't have we can't, some of these arguments, these partisan arguments, because that's what they are. They are partisan arguments. They are Republicans and Democrats trying to take their beliefs onto the next battleground, which is the classroom. They're trying to take their war, their debates into the kids' classroom. So the bill is controversial, right? The bill is controversial. Public school teachers in Florida are banned from holding classroom instruction about sexual orientation or gender identity after this parental rights in education bill. Now, I don't think there should be a formal discussion on sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. What? No, I mean, it should not be that. Now, if the teacher's gay, right? If the teacher teaching these young students is gay, or if he's heterosexual, you're not supposed to be having heterosexual discussions. I like girls with big butts, or you're not supposed to have those kind of discussions with the kids either, right? You're not. So but some of this common sense stuff, I mean, I don't think that gay teachers are having, explicit conversations with them. But this is how the stuff gets fuzzy, because you have those Republicans, QAnon people say, oh, the Democrats are pedophiles because, they're having these kind of discussions. This is where some of this stuff originates from, this type of thought process. And it's just gotten so toxic. So toxic. Supporters of this legislation say it's meant to allow parents to determine when and in what way to introduce LGBTQ topics to their children. And then opponents say they already know about this stuff because it's out in the world, right? So that's the debate. It also gives parents an options to sue a school district if the policy is violated. This is going to be a mess, and this is going to spread to other states. So this debate is going to continue. This debate is going to continue. The governor said that it's not something that's appropriate for any place, but especially not in Florida, right? Oh, he's campaigning. He wants to be the one to say, yes, I kept gay conversations out the classroom. Vote for me. You know what I mean? He's writing his campaign ads in real time. In real time. These are just he's just sloganeering. Right? He is he is just trying to do that. Studies have shown that LGBTQ youth already face higher health and suicide risks than their straight peers. So when those kids are given access to spaces that affirm their gender identity, they report lower rates of suicide attempts, according to the Trevor Project. Now, the Trevor Project condemned the signing of the bill, saying that the bill erases LGBTQ identity, history, and culture. So they said that it actually erases the LGBTQ students themselves. So how old? How old? Like how can someone be in kindergarten and are they can they be in kindergarten and be an LGBTQ youth at 5 years old? I would say no. I need to have someone on the show that can maybe shine some light on this. I think that a lot of times when kids are growing up is such a journey, and you're confused. You're seeing things for the first time. You have feelings and thoughts that you don't understand, and um, sometimes you look to things that look similar and think, "Oh, that's what this is." And I think that opponents of um, the "Don't Say Gay" bill are uh, trying to cling to the fact that usually they feel that at a young age they understood that they were different, or they identified uh, differently than they were born, and they think that this type of legislation will prevent or make it difficult or make it uncomfortable for someone else who came to a realization at a young age, right? And I think that that could be fair, right? But how young is too young, right? At 5 years old, you don't know anything about. You don't have the feelings. You don't have the ability to reproduce. Does it even get hard at 5 years old? I mean, why are we having these type of discussions, right? And the thing that Republicans do that is so clever is that they will bring up things that are, I think, accepted as fact, and just bring it up just to stir the pot up, just to stir the pot up. And they're often very defiant. Republicans, very defiant. DeSantis says, I don't care what Hollywood says. I don't care what big corporations say. Here I stand. I'm not backing down. The law takes effect July 1st. July 1st. The legislation was also the target of jokes at the Academy Awards. no, no surprise there. So we're going to continue to have this discussion because, as I said, I don't think that it is over by a long shot. You're going to have other areas trying to continue this fight. The Don't Say Gay bill. The LGBTQ folks seem like they're up for a fight. Supporters and detractors of the bill seem like they are ready for the fight. But something that I constantly have to remind Republicans about, so surprisingly, there's a constitutional problem with Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. Yeah. Florida Republicans are leveraging uncertainty to terrorize the teachers and the school administrators. But it is it is hard at this point to know the full extent of the behaviors that this bill is supposed to forbid. It's difficult to know that right now because it's so vague. Now, does conversation with the student that occurs in a classroom, does that constitute as classroom instruction? So let's say class hasn't started yet, and you're having a conversation, the student is having a conversation with the teacher. Class hasn't started yet. The bell didn't ring yet, and they're having a conversation. Does that constitute classroom instruction? Oh, they write these bills a certain way, and they do that on purpose. They do that on purpose. Now, it is not unusual for Florida education statutes to use vague phrases like age appropriate. A different state law, for example, requires schools to teach comprehensive, age appropriate, and developmental appropriate K through 12 health education. What does that mean? Right? It's so vague, it can be twisted a million ways. That can be twisted a million ways. So this is the type of stuff that we are dealing with. This kind of vagueness is only going to lead to more arguments and more debate and a more controversial discussions. Now, states may choose not to teach politically controversial topics. Maybe that's where we're headed. Now, even if there are real concerns that avoiding these topics can cause harm to students, right? You're just not going to bring it up. It's just like the parent that says, "I'm not going to have a conversation about sex with my child," and they're just going to act like this is not something that conversation they're going to have in the streets, like a conversation that they see actions on TV or streaming services or whatever. But they just feel like if I don't have the conversation with them, then I can just act like it just doesn't exist. Right? How smart is that? How smart is that? Now, the most significant thing that I want to bring up, for the future of the "Don't Say Gay" bill, and unconstitutionally vague stature, is if it goes to other states and this gets dissected even more, what changes would the courts bring to all of this? The more that we dissect this, the more that we spin it around, the more that we unpack it. I'm interested in these discussions. I definitely, we got to talk about it. I mean, because it's something that's going to affect everyone at some point in time. Everybody got a kid or somebody in their family who's young, right? But as I said, all of this is pointed to politics. Everything is politics. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok at The Diamond K Show. Of course, on firetelevision.com, thediamondkshow.com. I am here live 6 p.m. weekdays. Of course, you can check us out on demand. If you miss any episodes of the show, that is okay, because you can check us out on demand, right? Anywhere you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, of course, youtube.com/DJ Diamond K, the WRF radio app, onfiretelevision.com is our home base, and thediamondkshow.com. You can scroll your timeline, attend a Zoom meeting on mute, do some online shopping, all while listening to The Diamond K Show. And On Fire Television is an advertiser-supported audio and video network. You can get breaking news, podcasts, TV shows, documentaries, all covering topics that are important to our culture. You want to support The Diamond K Show and this digital network, head on over to onfiretelevision.com, grab a t-shirt, some other merch, become a sponsor of this program. I'm able to deliver our news and our views because of our listeners, sponsors, and of course, you. We are powered by the people, and I appreciate your support. I will be back here. We'll be back here tomorrow, 6 p.m. on firetelevision.com, thediamondkshow.com. I will see you guys tomorrow.